I want to talk about Scientology for a few minutes here. Currently there's a Scientology series, a documentary series of 8 parts by Leah Remini, an actress who has become an activist against Scientology. She was in it for like decades. She grew up in it and eventually left it, and now is talking about some of the serious problems with it, particularly with the fact that when you leave, they completely want to destroy you, your reputation, your life. They have to invalidate you and everything you say, so they call you all sorts of names. They follow you, and it's like an organized crime family. So it's, in my opinion, I've seen a lot, I've read a lot, I've seen a lot of documentaries, and it seems like not only is it a cult, it is a crime family. It's a very sick organization, posing as a religion. The fact is, it's not a religion. It's a it's a self-actualization program. It's really not a religion. And I say that because, in my opinion, any true religion is one that espouses the golden rule, the principle of treat others as you wish to be treated. And clearly, the way Scientology treats people who leave their program, that's not a righteous way to behave. Um, now, so the question is it true? All these people, all these things they say about how horrible the organization is, how what a fraud it is, could and then Scientology says no, they're all liars. They're making all this stuff up. They're trying to get attention. They have no life. So who do you believe? Well, I believe the people who have left. I don't believe they have any need to spend their lives doing this, except for the fact that they want to help other people leave the organization, and they want to prevent new people from entering into this organization. But I also believe that that Scientology is a big problem. That they're the problem and not the people leaving. Is because of what it's all based on. It's Ron L. Hubbard was a science fiction writer, and a failed science fiction writer, and then he basically turned his science fiction into this quote religion, close quote. Here's the deal. I have a friend, by the way, who was in Scientology. There's some good stuff about Scientology. Their e-meter, where you can learn stuff, you can get clear of stuff. Of negativity, and my friend was in it for quite some time, and he used it in very effective ways. He helped people and counseled people, and so it's not like it's a horrible, worthless thing. There's good stuff there. There's some good techniques there, but it's just, it went over and above and beyond that to it took a perverse, twisted path. But the way it all works is that you go up these levels, and as you go up these levels of clearing yourself, eventually you get to a level where you get to see the secret wisdom of L. Ron Hubbard. You get the secret stuff, the secret sauce, and you don't get the secret sauce until you have, spent a lot of time and you've contributed a lot of money. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the privilege of getting to the secret wisdom of L. Ron Hubbard. Now, don't quote me on this. Don't say, oh, because I get some details wrong, that means that I'm full of crap. Because I don't remember the exact details, but the essence of it, the basis of this whole business of the secret wisdom is that, and this happened to my friend. So he rose up the level, and then he finally got, okay, here's the secret wisdom. And it turned out to be like handwritten pages from L. Ron Hubbard, hand scrawlings, and something to the effect that on some other planet in the universe, like eons ago, these souls had to escape a dictator, so they took spaceships over here to Earth, and they buried their spirit souls underneath volcanoes. Hello. And then these spirits come out, and they enter, and they enter like innocent bodies, our bodies or our minds and our consciousness, and then we have to clear out. We use these e-meters and stuff to clear out these weird negative entities, and then when we clear them out, then we are reach our full potential. So I'm a big believer in the impossible, and I'm a big believer in magical thinking. In fact, I don't want to be negative about any possibilities, no matter how far fetched they are, being true. But I got to tell you, that seems pretty ridiculous to me. And how you could like listen to that with a straight face and stay in that organization is beyond me. And that's what happened to my friend. Once he got to that level of seeing, the secret wisdom, he said, "This isn't wisdom. This is nuts. This is silliness, craziness, absurdity." And so he left. Excuse me, as many people do. Excuse me. So the question in my mind is, why do like Tom Cruise and John Travolta stay in? I mean, they're really bright people. Why do they stay in this organization? Do they not know that it's absurd, or do they know and they don't care? So, well, if they don't know that it's absurd, then that's one of the options, that it is a cult and they are brainwashed and they believe everything they've been fed, and so there's no way you're going to break through that brainwash, and that's why they stay in Scientology. Now, other people have postulated that they do know that it's absurd, and they do know that the head of it, is real problematic. By the way, one of these people in the documentaries talks about how he was one of these enforcers. He was one of these people who was there. His job was to destroy the reputations of people who would leave. So it's not like we're guessing. This people did this. This guy did this for like decades. He like ruined people's lives in order to protect the organization. So the other theory is that people like Tom Cruise and John Travolta know that it's a fraud and know that it's corrupt, but they can't leave. They're afraid to leave because they're being blackmailed. Because during the sessions, these meter sessions, when they're asked to to clear themselves of all the crap, all their sins, all their confusions, they reveal a lot of private, confidential, secret stuff that's all written down. And then later, if they want to leave, they can't, because it's like extortion. If you leave, we're going to expose like what a crazy person you are and all this weird stuff that you did, and they don't want to be exposed and humiliated or whatever. And so they stay in this program. They stay with the program. Now, I have another theory as to why these guys, Tom Cruise and John Travolta, might stay in Scientology, knowing that it's not real. It's not good, is I think they believe. See, what happened is they were struggling actors, is my impression, and then they glommed upon this program, and once they were in the program, they started getting huge success in their careers. And so they linked, being in Scientology with huge success. That's the whole idea. It's a success program. And so you do what they say, and you're going to have massive success and wealth in your life. And so it happened for Cruise and for Travolta. Now, they don't mention that there are probably thousands of people who anticipate and expect the same incredible results and don't get it. They don't get that stuff. But these guys got it. But I maintain that the reason why Cruise and Travolta got massive success after being engaged in Scientology is not because of what is inherent in Scientology itself, but what is inherent in them. These people have massive talent. These people were destined to be superstars and super successful. And it just so happens that they used Scientology to draw out their self-actualization, to draw out their talent, and to eliminate their fear and go forward and become great. But they just, in my opinion, they just could have just as easily taken a Tony Robbins course or any pathway to self-actualization and success. They could have glommed onto any number of self-help programs, and they would have gotten the same results, because it wasn't about something outside of themselves that made them great. It was what's inside themselves that made them great. And Scientology could have been anything, could have served as the catalyst to their success. I don't know if anyone's ever told Tom Cruise or Travolta that, hey, guess what? You can leave Scientology and you're still going to be great. That's not a problem. But it baffles me because they're really bright people, and why they would assume that all these things that people have said it isn't true. It's. But that's what people do. When they want to believe something, everything else, they're in denial, and everything else becomes like they have some sort of justification for attacking, shooting the messenger, and denying the message. Now, something else I want to touch upon about Scientology and Tom Cruise is that he maintains that psychiatrists are assassins, are murderers, because they use psychiatric medicines which are toxic poisons and which alter people's minds. Okay. Now, being a psychiatrist, I do prescribe medicines, and I do agree that they're toxic. You got to really be careful, and you shouldn't take them if you can possibly get to a better place without them. But many people seem to have a tremendous difficulty getting to a better place, without medication. So you use the least amount to try to help them to navigate their lives. But my point is, which I think Tom Cruise is missing, is that he's not being fair. There's a double standard and hypocrisy here, because all medications are toxic, all of them. It's obvious, right? I mean, if you watch any one of these commercials on TV, of which there are massive numbers now, at the end of the commercial they reel off a disclaimer of, this can cause a sudden backache, sudden death, cancer, headaches, migraines, arthritis. There's like a million things these medicines can do. Doesn't mean they always do that, but they're doing something to you, and they are toxic. And all of the medicines are toxic. Antibiotics, diabetic medicines, hypertension medicines, cholesterol medicines, all of them have the potential to cause serious physical harm and also to alter your mental state. Even Chantix, which is a medicine for stop smoking, can cause serious psychological damage, make some people suicidal. So I think it is just dishonest and disingenuous of him to just attack psychiatric medications as being toxic, because they can hurt people and they alter people's minds. All of them do. So if he's ever taken an antibiotic, then he's a hypocrite, and he's applying a double standard. You see, L. Ron Hubbard was against psychiatry, and so all Scientologists are also. But L. Ron Hubbard was in deep need of psychiatrists, and I think, actually, I forget, but he might actually have had psychiatric help that didn't help, because he was way out there, way out there. Okay, so what is there more I can say that might takeaway message for you, for that's independent of this issue of Scientology and psychiatric medications being toxic and this and that and cults, etc. Well, I think the bottom line is, it's very easy to be seduced by information, by other people. Just look at the last election. Everyone's talking about fake news, that people were seduced by fake news to vote for one person or another. And in a sense, in my mind, like so many of the TV shows are fake news. A lot of people get their news these days, particularly, I think, perhaps millennials, from like The Daily Show, or some of these or Bill Maher, or some of these other shows. They're sort of satire shows or comedy shows, but no, they're news shows. They give news and then they comment on them. But they don't just give news and comment on them. They twist the news, they manipulate it and distort it for the agenda that they want to present as entertainment and humor and satire to their audience. But it turns out people believe what they're saying, and so it is fake news. So there's a lot, and they are seduced by it and influenced by it. Jon Stewart recently came out and said that people were blaming him that because he wasn't more vocal, he wasn't around to put out stuff about Trump, that's why Trump won. And he says, come on, like our comedians and satirists don't influence elections. Well, that's just not true. All fake news, all people who are out there as influencers have the potential to alter elections and to change people's minds. And so the take-home message from all of this is that it's easy to be seduced, it's easy to be fooled, it's easy to be manipulated, and you need to look at it. Anyone tells you anything, you need to like get just like in journalism, the way journalism used to be. If like during the Deep Throat, the Watergate thing, when they wanted to like confirm whether something was true or not, they had to get confirmation from like 2 or 3 sources before they knew that it was true and they could publish it. And so we need to do that too, because there's fake news everywhere, even from like ABC and CBS and NBC and CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, right? And Breitbart News and all these places. They're all a form of fake news because they all have a slant that nobody is fair and balanced. Okay, and so you have to be aware of that, and you have to take everything that resonates with you, or anything that makes you furious because you think it's wrong. You better like check it out. You better run it through some of these websites where they tell you whether it's rumor or whether it's true. You be certain of as best you can that what you're believing from what you read and hear is true, because it's so easy to be influenced and seduced. So first you have to, right, what did Reagan say? Trust but verify. And then you got to verify. And you got to think for yourself. You can't just spout off things and repeat things that pundits and your news sources have told you to be true. That's a mistake. You need to think about it. And you also need to think about the conclusions. So sometimes there can be a news source that is true, but the interpretation that your favorite pundit is giving to it very easily could be based on their bias and their need to influence you, and so it might not be true. So you have to think. Even when you have a valid news source, you have to think about what it means, what the consequence of that fact or that truth is. And before you start jumping up and down and screaming and ranting and raving and posting stuff and shaming people and bullying people, etc., think, validate, verify, think, and then speak and take action.